Thank you so much, Megan. And as Megan mentioned, welcome back, everyone. For those of you who weren't here yesterday, my name is Suzanne Spear. I'm the Senior Director of Workforce Development at ACU, and I have the pleasure of introducing today's keynote speaker, April Lewis. You can read her entire bio in the program, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her before we get started. So April Lewis is the president and CEO of April Lewis Academy Incorporated, which is a coaching and consulting firm. She uses her extensive training and leadership background to help organizations transform from the inside out. April's guiding principle is human first, employee second. April's resume includes excelling in various roles in operations, training, and technical assistance for both community health centers as well as primary care associations. She also served as a combat veteran in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Bright Star in Egypt. Her credentials include being a certified DISC facilitator, certified health coach, certified executive coach, and certified neurolinguistic programming practitioner. She also recently completed an interim position as Chief Operating Officer at an FQHC based in Maryland. I know a lot of you, April is a familiar face to you, but for those of you who don't know April, you're in for a treat. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, April Lewis.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Wherever you are, it's so good to be here. I'm smiling. I've been smiling since you all joined because I'm looking through the chat and I see familiar names and familiar faces. So for those, this is my first time being in your presence. It is a pleasure to virtually meet you, and to my old friends in this FQHC space, it's good to see you again, even if it's just by name. And I do hope that everyone is well on today. So as Suzanne said, we are talking about my favorite topic, which is wellness and wellness in the workplace. But I have some work for you to do at the start of this session. Yes, I'm speaking, but you have work to do. And the first thing I want you to do is to take out your phone, because I'm pretty sure it's not too far away from you. So I want you to take it out because I have 3 images that I want you to take a picture of, but then put your phone down on Do Not Disturb. And the first one is on your screen now. It is just a reminder that I want you to affirm to yourself often and share it with other people, to tell yourself that you take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Now, I have been working with community health centers for years, over a decade. And one thing I know for sure is that you all are the best and brightest. You are the most capable. You know how to do your job. You know how to do it well. And you walk around with an S on your chest. And that S stands for super person and also for selfless servant. You put so many people before yourselves, oftentimes to the detriment of you. And I do believe that we've learned over the last few years how important it is to take care of yourself so you can do the good work that you do to take care of other people. And this other people includes your colleagues, your team, your patients, community members, and then your family when you go home or when you log off for the day. Now, don't be like me and take a lot of pictures and screenshots and forget that it's in your phone. So take these pictures and then remember, after we finish up for the day, send it somewhere so you can look at it, print it out, make a Post-it note. But I want you to remind yourself to take care of you so you can take care of others. And secondly, I want you to take a picture of this quote. Jim Rohn is one of my favorite philosophers to listen to. He's now passed away, but if you ever just want to fill yourself up with personal and professional development tactics that are timeless, go to YouTube, put in Jim Rohn, and just enjoy. I want to give you a second to read this quote. This is what we want. We want to have energy and vitality and strength to do the work that we're called to do, whatever that looks like. And to do that, we must treat our bodies like a temple and not a woodshed. And you know, a woodshed is sitting in the backyard. It's typically not visually appealing. You throw stuff in it, but then when you need something that you know is in there, you have to dig and go through it. Oftentimes how we have to do with our energy. We have work to do. We have a meeting to facilitate. We have to travel, and we're wondering where we're going to pull the energy from and the focus because we have so many other things on our plate. So this is your reminder to treat your body like a temple and not a woodshed, which means to honor your body, care for your body, give your body what it needs. And that's different from person to person. There is no magic blueprint on how to take care of you. You have to do what's in the best interest of yourself, for your mind, your body, and your spirit. And the other picture I want you to take is this one. Take care of your body because it's the only place you have to live. Now, we are doing a lot of interesting things in the world today with AI. We're creating stuff. You don't know what's real, what's fake, whatever the case may be. But what we haven't created yet is an ability to come out of this body and just go into another one so we can have more energy and more vitality and more energy. What you have for yourself right now is what you have, and you can increase your energy. You can make yourself healthier. But what I want you to remember is to take care of yourself because it's the only place that you have to live. So get those 3 pictures. You're going to get copies of the slides, but I want you to reference them later. So here's what I want us to anchor in for today. 3 things: work prioritization, what it is and how do we do it, task management, and what are your time and energy givers and takers. If you get nothing else from today, I want you to know what is the one thing that you know for sure gives you energy, that lights you up, that when you think about doing it or you are doing it, time can fly by and you have no recollection of where it went. That's something that fuels you. And the true hack is to lean into more of those type of tasks and type of projects and conversations over the others. But we're going to get into it all today. So first, I want you to rate yourself. Just have a mindful moment. You can put it in the chat if you want to, but no pressure. How well do you manage your time? On a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being I don't manage it, it flies away. At the end of the day, I don't know what happened. And 5 being I complete everything that I say I will complete. Like you get things done. You're a 4. I see a 4, a 3, right in the middle. That's about normal. 4s, okay, I like the 4s. I like the 5, 3.5, very honest. And there is no right or wrong answer. We all know that there is no right or wrong answer. After today, we're all going to be better at it. 3.5, that's very honest. 4, 3, very good. 2, it's okay with a sad face. Don't be sad. After today, you'll be fine, Helen. So next, I want you to think about how is your energy level on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being you should be in bed right now because you're drained. I hope that's not the case. And 5 being I have high energy. So I see some 4s, 3s. 2.5, Gerard, you're a 4, 3, 2.5. So we're all about the same kind of median. We're all over the place, and a lot of people in the middle for your energy level, which is perfectly fine. You are where you are. This is like, what's the gym? Planet Fitness, a no judgment zone. Now I want you to think about this. What do you believe takes your time? Is it 1, unimportant task, 2, getting distracted, or 3, lack of focus? 1, 2, or 3? And that shouldn't be rate. That's 1. What are your options? 1, 2, or 3? Unimportant task, getting distracted. Oh, this world is designed to distract us, friends. Somebody put 1, 2, and 3. I feel like I have onset ADHD. I'm happy that you said that, because can we be honest for a moment? From this moment through the rest of my segment, we are best friends. And let me tell you why I need to be your best friend. Because I am going to step on some toes a little bit, but please know I'm stepping on them lovingly. And I'm also going to keep it very real with you because that's all I know how to do. We all have ADHD. We all have ADD. We all get distracted. We all lose focus. It is part of being a human, especially in this high-tech society. There are people that sit in rooms and basements and labs, and they're developers. And all they study is how to get your attention. Their whole focus is to get you to pay attention to them or some content that they create. The width of a feed of your feed in your social media platforms, it is designed to pull you in, to release just enough dopamine so you can stay engaged and keep scrolling up. So it's not by happenstance that you feel like you have early onset ADHD, because we all do. And I mean that in a very light, joking, but serious way. So just breathe through that and know that it's okay, because it can be managed. And I want to ask you, knowing what we know, what's that you maybe can use more energy and you know what's taking your time. If you were given more time and energy, what would you do with it? Just think for a second, go on a visualization within yourself. If you had, like a lot of executives say to me, if I just had more time in the day, and I'll just smile because, well, you can't get it. But what would you do? You would train, learn, lead, write a book. Oh, that's beautiful. Things that I love. Yes. What do you love? Rest, listen more thoughtfully. Ooh, I love that. Sleep and exercise. Oh, be more creative. Being creative gives you energy. Oh, garden, family. So these are the things that you would do if you had more time. You see, work, goals, family, friends, whatever the case may be, delegate that. Delegate to elevate. Delegation is the key. Like, there are certain things that you should do in your zone of genius and you should do because of your role. Delegate the rest. Emily said, breathe. I invite you all to take a deep breath right now because we all need to breathe more. Family and sleep. So this is what I want to help you get to. I want to help you get to where you can spend more time with your family, where you can get more sleep, good quality sleep, where you can train and learn and write that book, because writing a book takes time and focus. I'm in the process of doing it right now. It's blocking out time, being undistracted, and just writing, not seeking perfection and seeking performance. So I want to give you 3 principles of time and energy management. If you are taking notes, jot these down. If not, you'll have the recording, you'll have access to the slides. The first principle is time is infinite. It's just here. It's all over. It's going to be here when you leave, when we leave. It's going to keep going. But it's been constructed in a finite manner. So we've taken this essence of what just is from like a universal level, and we've constructed it in a way to where it is finite. We've constructed it into a 24-hour day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks in a year. And if you take away 8 of those hours, you should be sleeping. Now, if you do not get 8 hours of sleep, I want you to say me in the chat, because I want to talk to you offline, because we all know you should be getting 8 hours of sleep. It's not easily done, but it is necessary so your body can recover. So if you're not getting 8 hours, say me. I see you. I see all of you. We are going to have a one-on-one after this. Me, like, yes, you got to sleep, friends. That is your body's time to recover. And sleep is for the mind, the brain, and the body. So you're resting your body because you are sleeping, but you're also giving your brain time to recover. All day long, you are thinking. You're averaging 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. That information has to be processed. That information has to be settled so you can retrieve it at the appropriate time. You want to be able to think and have memory and strengthen your cognition. That's what's happening when you're sleeping. Sleeping is recovering. There is resting and there is recovering. Both of them make up good sleep. Someone says my circadian rhythm only allows me 6.5 hours. That's good to know. And you can also manipulate your circadian rhythm. But if the key with that is every day, 7 days a week, train your body to catch a rhythm. The time that you wake up, the time that you black out, no screen time, no TV, close the curtains, drop the temperature to your room. If you do that every day, you can tweak your circadian rhythm. 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but sleep interruption often. 7 to 8 hours is good, so I applaud you for that. So as you see, everyone has a different sleep cycle. The goal, and this is backed by research, we want to strive by 8 hours. And then you pull out 8 hours of working. So we're already down 16 hours from the day that we've constructed. And this is working. Now, don't forget, we're best friends. Really working, deep work, completing tasks, getting things done, and not just sitting in meetings and talking about the next meeting or talking about the meeting that you had before or the meeting that you should be having or probably will have after this meeting because we like to talk. Not that kind of work, real work, getting stuff done, strategizing, creating, completing tasks, lining things off your to-do list, actually fulfilling stuff, submitting things, real work. And I say that somewhat tongue in cheek because work includes all of that. You do need time to plan. You also need time to think. You need time to strategize. You need time to brainstorm. All of that's correct. It's about planning accordingly and not creeping from one to the next. So if you're having a strategy meeting, focus on creating a strategy. And then if there's another meeting for the follow-up, then you should be talking about what was done, not still strategizing. If that makes sense for me, say yes in the chat, because oftentimes our meetings get a little blurry. We start with one thing and then we end up doing something else and we're around the world and back again. Here's a hack for you. I'm going to drop as many hacks as I can throughout this segment. When you start a meeting, start with this one-liner. Now, don't tell everybody this. It'll make you look great at work. After this meeting, we will achieve X. After this meeting, we will achieve X. So that is very clearly saying, once we finish this time together, 30 minutes, 45, 15, 60, 90, whatever the case may be, what will you achieve? And when there is an achievement, it's done. It's completed. You've gotten something over the ideation phase until the execution phase. So start your meetings by clearly saying what you will achieve, even if you just have to say it within yourself because you're the meeting facilitator. So good luck with that. Then you're left with 8 hours. You slept, you woke up, you ate a good breakfast, you worked, whether you're going in the office, going into the health center, or you're working remotely, or a hybrid of two, that's 16 hours gone, and then you have 8 hours left. What are you doing in those 8 hours? Well, your personal hygiene, you're commuting, if you're going into the office, which most of you, I believe, are, you're running errands, because groceries like just go away very quickly. Your chores or anything else in the adulting group, because it seems like there's always something to do. I closed on my house. I'm here in Tampa, Florida. Greetings from the Sunshine State. Keep us lifted. I closed on my house in August, and I feel like every time I turn around, there is something else to do. Always, every day, I'm looking at something, whether it's outside, inside, one room to the next. There's always something to do to be a responsible adult. Then you have children. Your family members, they need time. A lot of you said in the chat, if you had more time, you would spend it with your family. And then if you're like me, your family doesn't even live where you live, so you have to travel to see them or make plans for them to see you. Then you have pets. I had a poodle for 11 years. It takes time to raise a puppy and a dog. I don't know a lot about cats. I hear they're pretty self-sufficient. Me and cats haven't really formulated a relationship, but all of these things take time away from you. With the dog, you have to walk it, you have to tend to it. And then you have to cook and eat, and then leisure things. What do you enjoy doing? And then even if that's doom scrolling, which is scrolling mindlessly on social media, and before you know it, you've consumed about 45 minutes of content and the clock is still ticking, even though you told yourself you were going to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. That's called doom scrolling. Watch out for it. Here's a hack for my iPhone users if you don't know. I don't know anything about Droid. Sorry, I'm that person. Team iPhone. You can set a timer for your social media to cut off after X amount of minutes per day. It's in your settings. You just go to it. I can't remember the exact, it's screen control. So it's basically going to cut your doom scrolling. For me, it's political and social detriment. Okay, self-awareness is key. So if you set your phone, it can shut down. I have mine set to 30 minutes of social media a day. And I can confidently say about 97% of the time, I do not go past the 30 minutes. Now, if you are a content creator like me and you have to push out posts and you're communicating with your followers, yes, you may go over, but you have to do, again, what works for you. You know the feeling when you've just been scrolling too much and you just feel like, oh God, I'll never get that time back. It happens to the best of us. And we even do it at work. People even do it at work. Now, whether you're scrolling on LinkedIn or whether you're scrolling on Instagram or you're scrolling on Facebook, you're still scrolling if you're not working. And if you're in that 8-hour block of work, you're taking away time that you can be productive. So time isn't the issue, as we can see, because we have 8 hours that are separate of work stuff and sleep. So your energy and your focus is the issue, which is okay because we're here to be solution oriented. So the second principle is that energy is a renewable resource, which means you can create more of it. You can control your energy. Your energy will adjust throughout the day. This is critical to the comment about the circadian rhythm. Our body is constantly moving and regulating itself throughout the day. And we also have a peak performance time. For a lot of people that I've come in contact with, especially executives that I work with, they say the morning time is best for them. For me, I'm pretty much like a 7 to 10 type. Now with my schedule being more flexible, I like that time of morning. It's very still, it's still early, it's quiet, energy is high. So when is your peak performance time? Tell us in the chat, when is the time of the day, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, when is it that you can just crank stuff out? You feel good, you sit up straight, you don't need to be caffeinated as much, you can just get stuff done. And what you'll see, as you see now in the chat, it's different for everyone. Some people are early risers. Like I have a friend, he is at his computer at 4:30 every morning. I don't even know if my computer turns on at 4:30 every morning because I haven't tested it, and I will not. Like hopefully I don't have to. Morning or evening, so that's two totally different times. And I'm sure, Melissa, that's depending on how much energy you put out, what you ate, what you have to work on. Morning is best. See, as you see, morning is good for a lot of people. And then we have Gerard who says 10 o'clock at night. My phone goes on do not disturb at 10 o'clock at night because it's time to go to bed. So Gerard, you're a late night. Some people like that before 10 or after 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., early risers. So it doesn't matter what time your peak performance is. The key is knowing when it is so you can put tasks in that time where you need a lot of energy. So your energy can increase. You absolutely can increase your energy and renew it with rest and nutrition. Now, there is a word that I will not say on this session that when you eat a lot of food, good food most of the time, you get a little sleepy and lethargic and you want to go to bed afterwards and you can't focus. That's not the purpose of food, friend. Food is your energy source. Somebody said it in the chat. Food is your energy source. When you eat food, it's just like going out into the sunlight. When you eat food, you should have energy. You're fueling your body. So if your food isn't fueling your body, then it's probably not the best food to put into your body. We're going to go deeper in that a little later. So then what gives you energy? It's the summertime right now. Here in Florida, it's practically always the summer, which is exactly why I moved here because I love the heat. I love being outside. But what gives you energy? Like, do you like to go to the water? Do you like being outside? Do you like spending time with your family and friends? Now with this, again, I'm your best friend for this moment. There are some family members that will take your energy and not give you back an ounce of it. Be mindful of those and be very intentional about how you spend time with them. Knowing who those family members are and who those friends are can make or break your energy and focus throughout the day. It's no judgment. It's nothing against them. It has everything with you managing your energy for the day so you can do what you're called to do. So you can serve your team, so you can serve your patients, so you can be a good leader, so you can think clearly and problem solve and mediate and figure out how to optimize your EHR and come up with a new PDSA so you can be more efficient in the workplace. You need energy to do that good work. It doesn't just come out of anywhere. You are the source. You're the person that's doing that work. So you have to be filled and fortified appropriately so you can get it done. Rest and relaxation. When is your rest day? When do your friends and your family members know today is my day? For me, it's Saturday. My people know Saturday is my Sabbath. The answer is no to everything. If I decide last minute that I want to do something, that's totally on me. I'm going to give work what I have Monday through Friday. Saturday, I'm doing nothing. It's not a pretty sight up in here. I'm absolutely vegged out and lounging. So Sunday, Saturday, oh, thank you, Tanisha, bless you. I'm happy you're encouraged. So whatever your day is, and it's, again, all of this is very unique to you. So I want you to get this information and go back and sit with it. And if you don't have these practices in place, that's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. You can look at your calendar, and even if you have to schedule it out for 3 weeks, that's fine. If you say 3 weeks, I'm going to start taking X day, half a day to just rest and relax. Because my friend, with the S on your chest and all your superpowers, you are not a robot. You cannot just be plugged into the wall and charged up. You got to take care of your human body so you can rest, so you can recover. So when you show up to work, you're grounded and you're calm and you're cool and you're collected so you can think, so you can produce, so you can get stuff done. So you're not easily agitated when someone sends you an email or asks you to do something, or that patient who's standing at the counter on the wrong day of their appointment, mad at your patient reps because they thought it was Tuesday and it's really Wednesday, but you need to fix it. So now you got to bump your beautifully crafted schedule back to make this work, because that's what you do. When you have your energy in order, when you have rested well, you can deal with that, because it's going to happen. Every single day in healthcare, it happens. But when you take care of you, you're able to self-regulate your mind, your mood, and your emotions. So when those external things come your way, You can handle it with ease because you're well. And that's the purpose of all of this, to be well and live well so you can lead well. In your work, is it setting your soul on fire, or does it feel like it's sucking everything out of you? Do you still have the energy and the motivation that you had from the beginning? And if not, how can you get it back? What is the piece of your job that you just love and you maybe have pushed it on the back burner because of other things? Is it time to delegate? Is it time to just not do it? Is it even a strategic priority anymore? So your work, our work, should be purposeful and meaningful. I understand we have to work a job, we have to pay bills, all of that, yes. We have missions to achieve. I understand the reality of this situation, but the work that you raise your hand and say, yes, I accept this offer to do, it should connect to an intrinsic motivator, which means that's something within inside of yourself that motivates you. It's not money, it's not anything external, it's all within you. What is it that you talk about at work, that you train? What topics do you facilitate? What part of the day, what part of the patient experience that you absolutely love? Is there a way that you could put more of that into your routine? Because that's giving you energy, that's lighting you up. So then when you do go to do some more daunting, boring, not so exciting tasks, it's fine because you're lit up from what you love. That's how you find the regulation of life, not just work, but of life. So the last principle is all tasks are not created equal. There are going to be some tasks that require a different amount of energy than others. If you are in the financial space, I don't know if we have any finance people here. Finance people love numbers. They can crank them out, spreadsheets, the credits and the debits and all of that good jazz, and they're cool. From other people, sitting and dealing with a spreadsheet all day long is exhausting, but you have to do it because you have to track this data. That's a different type of energy. It's a different amount of energy because you're pressing through your natural excitement and your natural motivators. And then there are other tasks that's going to just require a different type of focus. Like some things, now we cannot multitask. I hope we all know that. The brain cannot be 100% focused on anything other than one single task. We attempt to do it. You may seem like you do it well, that's fine, but the brain has to be single focused for it to give it 100% attention. So when you think about the work that you have to do, some things you can maybe sit and eat and read and review. Other stuff you have to be head down, phone on do not disturb, office door closed, getting 100% invested in what's in front of you. If there are any grant writers on here, you can relate. When you're writing those narratives, it is head down, no distractions. You have to be focused. So all of your tasks require a different amount of energy to get it done and a different amount of time, obviously. Your ability to adjust your time, commitment, and energy will lead to your success and less stress. How many of you are guilty of cramming what literally is a 60-minute task into about 25 minutes? If you're guilty, just say me in the chat. How many of you procrastinate, wait till the last minute, and you know you really needed a whole hour, like a strong, powerful 60 minutes? And yeah, no comment, come in the comment. We are freeing ourselves after today. We will make it happen. And then how about those people? I am in recovery, so now I can laugh at you. How about those people that say, I work better under pressure? Remember, we best friends, don't get mad at me. You work better under the pressure that you created for yourself because you have no choice, because you have to get it done. It's okay, friend. We are all healing today. There is a level of good stress that motivates us to lean in and really get it done when we kick out adrenaline and not cortisol, which is the stress hormone, right? So that's essentially what we're trying to say when we say we work better under stress. But more often than not, you've just created a construct to where you're down to the wire and you have no other choice. Take back your choices. Imagine working on something, actually being able to do a first draft, step away from it, and come back and finish strong. And you can actually spark that creativity. Creativity really needs time. Creativity needs for you to be able to sit back, not look at the screen, gaze out a window or stare in your waiting room and just see what comes to your subconscious mind. You cannot produce that level of creativity if you're typing fast, looking at the clock, getting irritated at everybody that call or text you or come through your door with a problem. Give yourself the time and grace that you need to be great. If you plan accordingly, you can make it happen. I have an executive that I coach, and they bought a new building, and for whatever reason, the front of her office, like the admin office, everyone has glass walls, so there is no privacy. And I'm just like, whose idea was this? Like, in some world of architecture, it's beautiful. In the world of working at a health center and being an executive in the admin office and need to do work, it's not a good idea. So we've come up with some tactics to where she can put a sign on her door, a sign right in front of her window, reposition her computer to look away. Because if not, when people see you, hey, got a minute? Hey, real quickly. Hey, one question. We know how it goes. So remember that all of the work that you have to do is not created equal. So be mindful of how much time you really need and how much time you want to give it and what level of energy you're going to need to get it done. And then prioritize. So here's how you prioritize the work, because if you're like me, you have a to-do list, or whether it's digital or print or digital or handwritten. Goal alignment. What needs to be done? What needs to be achieved and why? With the work that you do, regardless of your role, whether you're a leader, executive, CEO, front desk, referral specialist, training, development, whatever you are working towards some goals. Team goals, department goals, strategic goals, HRSA goals, whatever the case may be. The work that you're doing should be getting you there. You'll often hear people say your North Star, your guiding light, whatever name you want to give it, is what you're doing at any moment in time getting you closer to that goal. And why? Because there should be alignment. Oftentimes in the space of community health, we say yes to everything because we're champions, we're awesome, and we want to get it done. But when you say yes to one thing, you're inadvertently saying no to another, because you only have so much time throughout the day, you only have so much bandwidth, and you only have so much resources. So as you look at everything that's on your plate right now, prioritize to make sure it's in alignment with your goals. And then the urgency of it, what's due now? This here, even in the absence of these other two, if you just focus on what do I need to get done now? There's a project management principle. If there are any PMPs on the line, you can say it far more beautifully and accurately than I can. But essentially, the input of one thing is necessary for the output of another thing. So if there is a grant that's due and you're responsible for pulling some numbers, getting some patient data, or whatever the case needs to be done for your colleague to submit that grant, your input is directly impacting their output. So that's urgent. We don't want to hold anyone up. And yes, there will be times where we need grace. There will be times where we forget, where we said yes to many things, to where we just miss it. Like, it will happen because we're human. But the key is when you look at everything on your plate, when you look at your task list right now, your work management tool, a sticky note, a Kleenex, wherever you have it, because I hope it's not all up here, hint, hint, hack, get it out of your head and on paper or digitized somewhere. When you look at everything, what needs your attention right now? What is due right now? And then focus on that thing so you can get it done. And then the third one is importance. What's most important? There's a book by Greg McKeown, M-C-K-E-O-W-N. I don't know how to say that, but it's called Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of doing less. I believe it's the subtitle, but it's Essentialism. And he teaches the acronym, or not, it's not an acronym. What is it called when you take the first letters of a word? Initialism, I think that's the word. He has an initialism for the word when, and it's what's important now. I cannot say that word. Acrostic, is that correct?
You got it.
Okay, good. What does it mean? That's when you take the first letter of the word.
Yeah.
Thank you, Susan. I'm sorry, y'all know we're family. We're talking here. We're working through some stuff. So acrostic.
You're doing great.
Yes, acrostic. Thank you. That's new. I got to make sure I save that and get it in my brain. But win. You want to win each day. You want to win the morning. You want to win the afternoon. We want to win in life. So what's important now? So this is how you prioritize. There will always be something to do. We know that. Cool. That does not mean we have to operate in a high level of stress all day, every day. Prioritization, being honest about the time and energy that is necessary to get work done. So breathe through that. How do you use your time at work? Whether you're going into the office or you're working from home or you're a hybrid, how are you using your time? Well, here are what a few people are doing. Senior managers are spending 23 hours a week in meetings. 23 hours a week. The average person works 40 hours a week. So that's over half of your time at work in meetings. Employees spend between 30 to 44% on for 44 minutes on social media. Yeah, it is sad. It's a lot of meetings that take place. And I get it. Some meetings are necessary. A lot of the ones that you were sitting in are not. Let's just be honest. And that's a whole nother conversation about leaning out your meetings and having a psychologically safe work environment so people can say, what is the point of this meeting? And we need to stop it. That's call me in to talk about that one. Employees spend 30 to 44 minutes on social media. Now, I have seen organizations where their IT department has the firewalls blocked to where you can't go on social platforms when you're on the network, but they're still on their phone if they're just using their own data. Now, social media, this includes LinkedIn. LinkedIn has now, it is very much a professional platform. I love it. It's very beneficial, but it's still social media. You can still get caught up scrolling and talking and watching videos and looking at people live stream, whatever the case may be. And only 17% of people track their time. You know who is phenomenal at tracking time? Lawyers. They're going to track it and they're going to bill you for all the things, regardless of what it was. Everything's an hour. And for those of you in my compliance people, if you're on the line, you know for sure how that works. Executives, lawyers track their time because they're billable hours. Can you imagine if the workplace turned into billable hours? If you had to account for what you did every hour, then send an invoice to your finance department to get paid? Just think about it. Don't answer out loud. In December 2020, the year of COVID, the term employee monitoring was the most searched because leaders wanted to know, okay, my people are at home. They're working remotely. How can I watch them to make sure that I'm not just paying them to scroll social media or sit there and pet their cat? So leaders and your team members want you to use your time effectively, but that's not always the case. And employees feel that meetings are the biggest waste of time in the workplace. I've worked before. I agree. I now go into organizations and help them improve. I agree. Again, some meetings are necessary. More often than not, they really just don't need to be happening. Look at your goals. What do you need to do to get to your goals? Have a target and work towards that. So what this means is that meetings and distractions take away productivity. The root word of productivity is produce. So when we're working, regardless of what it is that we're doing, if it's directly engaging with a patient, if we're training our team members, if we're developing something, we should be producing. There should be something that comes from how we're spending our time. It's the same in your personal life. If you're working every day with your children and you're doing after school homework with them and reading and developing and flashcards, you're producing a better reader. You're producing a better student. So when you're productive, something should be produced. So then you can ask yourself at the end of the day, was my day productive? What did you produce? Clearing through your inbox is not productive. Now, please remember you are more than what you produce for someone else. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's we're not just about what can you do. Your valuation it's not the value of you as to what you do, but when you're being productive, if I'm going to have a productive day, what does that mean? Start with the end in mind. What is it that you want to produce to say that you were productive? And do that quick check-in at night to see what did I produce? And most people don't monitor their time to know how it's being used. Now, this isn't something that happens normally in the workplace. I have a tool that I've used in my coaching practice to where I have my clients track their hours for 5 days straight. And it's in 30-minute increments so they can look back and see, okay, what's sucking up your time? Where are you overspending or underspending your time? It's literally like I actually got the idea from a lawyer, a paralegal, because when they're researching and looking at laws and doing all of these things, they really want to be mindful of their time that you're going to bill you from. So most people don't monitor it. I have that resource. My email's on the last slide. Shoot me a note and just say time tracker. I'm happy to send it to you. And leaders want people to spend their time working. Now, leaders, I know for a fact, do not want you to burn out. They do not want you to be stressed out, but they do want you to achieve the mission. And as a team member, you should know the role that you're contributing and the role that you're playing in achieving that mission. So when you're at work, Jim Rohn has a quote, when you're in the office, be in the office. And when you're at the beach, be at the beach. So it's compartmentalization so you can be great. When you're at work, be leaned in, dialed in, 2 feet in to working and getting it done. Take your necessary breaks, get your fresh air, eat away from your desk, all of that, absolutely. But then work when it's time to work. So when you get off of work, you can be fully present at home and fully present with your family and fully present with the things that you enjoy. So how can you manage your time and energy better? Now that we're aware of what's happening, what's taking, the things that take our time throughout the workday and what it means to be productive, how can we manage it better? Well, we want to first know what's taking and giving you time and energy. Throughout the course of the day, there are some things that are 100% stealing your time, for lack of a better word. So here are a few that's taking your time, possibly. You don't have a plan for the day. You're just winging it, as people say. And it's one of those things where you can go into the office or you start the day and you don't clearly define what you will achieve. And then it's like chaos. Everything is coming. Everyone has a problem. You need to fix this. One email will come in and completely derail you. And then the end of the day, you're tired. You're mentally spent. And then what? What have you gotten done that's going to help you get closer to your goals? Having unnecessary meetings, I beat that horse, mindless scrolling, repeatedly checking emails. This one here, we are such a dialed in society. We are stuck in our inbox if we aren't careful. There is a way that you can block your time to where it's strictly focusing on emails and then other times when you're working. And if you're like me, I don't have any notifications on my computer or my phone. Nothing pops up, nothing vibrates, nothing makes a sound. So if you're working on something, you can minimize or close out Outlook because everything that comes to your inbox is going to be there when you get back. So give yourself the fighting chance of getting through what you want to work on so you can be single focused by closing out your email or blocking time. Yes, for Teams, absolutely, because Teams will pop up. You can turn the pop-up off. You can turn it off to where it doesn't show you that you have an unread message. All of this can be done in your settings. You just have to go in and make it work for you. So daydreaming is different from thinking or taking a break or visualizing. Daydreaming is like when you realize it, like, oh, where did I just go? And sometimes it happens, but just be mindful of it. One of my clients sent me a gift of an hourglass, and you can get something like that and set it, and they have 5-minute hourglass, little small one. You can be intentional about just letting your mind wander because you're making time for it. You're not just losing time by daydreaming. And of course, gossiping and complaining is a complete waste of time, and it's such an energy taker. It's counterproductive. It's one thing to talk about a problem and look for a solution. It's another thing to keep stating what's not working and who sucks and everything that's wrong just because. It's not good for the person that's doing it, nor is it good for the person that's having to listen to it. And then those got a minute moments. Well, people send you a quick note or stop in or call you or Teams you and say, got a minute. If you don't have a minute, say you don't have a minute right then, and then schedule time or say you'll get back to them when you're finished. Again, this is one of those areas that the more psychologically safe your work environment is, the easier it is to do this. Because some people are terrified to say not right now. And that shouldn't be the case at work. We should be comfortable and safe enough to say, I'm working on something because I want to finish it, or I'm actually in deep thought, or whatever the case may be. Can I get back to you? So being mindful of people who say, oh, I just need 5 minutes, or you got a quick sec. We don't ever just take a sec. So starting with that plan, being clear on what is it that I need to do today? What do I need to achieve today? It'll help you manage how you're getting distracted. If you don't have a vision and goals, you're just doing whatever, going through the day-to-day motion. And some days, like, let's be honest, you can start with a beautiful plan. I am not unrealistic. You can start with a beautiful plan. You can have your list of what you want to get done, and then something can happen. We know that's the case. We can prepare for those by having that clear vision and goals, because once you get taken away to deal with whatever needs your time, just re-anchor back in what you know you're working on. But if you don't have anything to work on, when you come from dealing with the problem, putting out the fire, saving the day, and then you come back and you're like, okay, now what do I do? you're distorted, you're disheveled. But if you're very clear on saying, these are my priorities for today, if you get pulled away for 3 hours, 4 hours, come right back to it, pick right back up. An energy taker is lack of rest and adequate sleep. You just can't perform optimally if you're tired. Again, you're not a robot, you're a human. You need that real energy, not caffeinated, artificial energy. A cup of coffee, I'm gonna drink a cup of coffee every morning. I'm not anti-caffeine, but it's not your natural energy source to where you should be dependent upon it. And then not having a healthy diet. This isn't drink green smoothies, eat vegetables all day. This is putting real food in your real body so it can give you real energy. That's healthy eating. And we know what real food is and real beverages. Another energy taker is not having clear boundaries. Are you in other people's lane? In the military, we have a term called, when you're on the range, when we're shooting our weapon, stay in your lane and watch your target, because we're so close to everyone and you're trying to get center mass to your target. But if you look away by just an inch, you're in someone else's lane. And as you look through the barrel of a rifle, you don't have that much wriggle room. So we say, stay in your lane and watch your target. In the workplace, obviously, we want to collaborate, we want to cross-pollinate, but then we also want to have clear boundaries. So Sally, no, this is your lane of focus. Jesse, this is yours. April, whatever the case may be. We don't want it to be blurred. And it also will help you manage your workplace stress when people know what you are here to do and they don't call on you for everything. So healthy boundaries are good in work and life. Yes, fly your own plane. I love it. And physical activity can take your energy, and overexertion and the lack of. So if you overdo it, you're going to be tired. And if you don't move your body enough, you can be tired. So be mindful of how much you're moving. The rule of thumb, 30 minutes a day of physical activity. And they've gotten that so succinct to where you can do 30 minutes a day of chores. I recently learned that just moving your body, actively cleaning your house for 30 minutes, and that's physical activity. Or you can go for a walk, or if you like to go to the gym, lift weights, ride your bike, swim, play with the dog, whatever the case may be. Moving your body for 30 minutes a day improves your cardiovascular health. So what is giving you back your time and giving you back energy? A good night's sleep. Starting tonight, we are shooting for 8 hours if we physically can. Minimize the screen time before you get ready to go to bed. Make it dark, cool the place down, and sleep well. Positive and uplifting conversations. Again, who you're talking to is part of your diet. Like your healthy diet, as you see next, food, audio, and visual. What are you putting into your eyes and your ears? Are you watching uplifting and interesting and fun shows, or is it doom and gloom? And after you look at the news, you're sad. All of that's personal preference. But what you take in, that's through your ears and through your eyes. It's part of your diet. And you want to be mindful of what you consume, because in some capacity, it's going to come back out. Because as my technicians know, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever goes inside of you is going to come out. It's going to come out in your patience, in your stress, and in your conversations. Another energy giver is your inner work, your spiritual practices. What do you do just for you in the privacy of your own home? What do you do to keep yourself fortified? What is it that is, regardless of what life is bringing you, what can you lean on to know and remind yourself that it's going to pass and that you're going to be okay and that it's going to work out for you? So doing that is a daily practice. That's what no one can see, but it's the driving force behind your values and your beliefs and how you interact with other people. And your movement, that gives you energy. Getting up, your desk, something as simple as if you're able to get a desk that stands, or if you can walk around, change where you sit, put a timer. If you have an Apple Watch, you can set it for every 40 minutes, I believe, that it can tell you it's time to stand up and just move your body. In NLP, we call that a pattern interrupt. So you can do a pattern interrupt when someone's talking, or a pattern interrupt in your day. If you've been head down working and before you know it, 2 or 3 hours have passed by, you can do a pattern interrupt and just walk the building, go outside, or if you can't, go into a room and just lift your knees if you're physically able, move your arms. It's still movement. Whatever that looks like, if you're physically able to bend over and touch your toes, do jumping jacks. Again, it's respected to what your body can do and as you're able, but the key is that movement gives you energy, especially after you get through eating. Another energy giver is a calendar blocking. So blocking your calendar is saying, like, for those of you that know when your peak performance time is, block that time so it's your protected time. You don't have to schedule anything other than you. What is it that you want to work on? But no one can put you in a meeting or take your time away from you. Obviously, if it's 10 o'clock at night or 4 o'clock in the morning, you don't have to worry about that. But block your calendar. If you have something to work on, set an appointment with yourself and then keep the appointment with yourself and be focused to complete the task. And that way you don't have the feeling of self-betrayal thereafter. So again, this may not be something that you can do every day depending on your role, but blocking your calendar is taking ownership of your time so you can be focused. And that's what I call DFT, dedicated focus time. So because I'm an entrepreneur and I work from home, I use this, it's not an app, this website called FocusMate. And with FocusMate, I log on and I can have a virtual working session with someone from all around the world. And we just sit there and we don't technically stare at each other, but our cameras are on. And you say you can sign up for a 50-minute block, 75-minute, whatever the case may be. And it's like, hi, what are you working on? Okay. Then we go into silence and we work. And then at the end of it, you just check in and see what you did. Did you get the task done? How far did you make it? Do you need to have another session? But it's dedicated focus time on one task, laser focus, finger focus. And it is amazing how I can get work accomplished by just keeping myself focused on the one thing. And if you work in a health center, it's possible to block your calendar so no one can take your time, put a note on the door, let everyone know, check in as you need to see if anything is needed. But if it's not something urgent, let your team know you're working on something, and then you commit to yourself to be focused on the task at hand until completion. And then a few other things that give you energy, your day and week planning, excuse me. Jim Rohn says, y'all see, I like Jim Rohn. He says, don't start the day until you finish it. Don't start the week until you finish it. So he's saying, before you go into it, know what you need to get done. Strategic thinking gives you energy because when there's so much to do you have a strategy for it? One of my clients work at USAA, and she said something that has not been able to leave my mind. And she was talking about a dating app, but she said, everything needs a strategy. And it really does. There's a strategy to how you get ready in the morning. There's a strategy to how you're raising your kids, whether you mapped it out or not, but there's a strategy behind it. So taking time for strategic thinking, how can I come up with a plan to take action on it, to execute it and hit my measures of success? That takes time to do strategic thinking. Your productive habits give you energy. Your morning routine, exercise, time chunking. Time chunking is similar to calendar blocking, but that's just saying it's more if you're going to give yourself 40 minutes, like if you look at your calendar and you have 60 minutes, an hour of unaccounted for time, take 40 minutes and focus on something and then use the other 20 minutes for whatever. But it's chunking that time so you can just be dialed in. And then lastly, using metrics to measure progress. So if you're using a metric, so if you sit down to work, what is it that you want to achieve? Is it that you want to complete the task? Do you want to put a check saying it's done? Do you want to put it in yellow because it's 50%? Like when you're able to look and see your progress, you're motivated to keep going or see if you got derailed for whatever reason and then know where to pick back up. So put a measurement on whatever you're working on. And for grants, you typically work like that anyway, saying that 40% of it's completed, 50%, whatever the case may be. Managing your work that you do, it actually helps because you can always see where you are. So if you have something and you're almost complete and you have some time, then go ahead and knock that out so you can check, line through, delete, and get it done. And then take a moment and be proud of yourself for completing it. Because let's be honest, we don't always finish what we start. And that can take our energy, constantly having incomplete tasks, so many things to do, so many open projects. So we want to get as many wins under our belt as possible, as often as we can. So how can you manage it all better? Be aware of your energy givers and energy takers. And I want you to think, like, is there anybody that you talk to, any food that you eat, anything that you watch where you're depleted and unmotivated in the process or afterwards? And then conversely, what's lighting you up? What's giving you energy? What's actually putting a smile on your face that's coming from within? Again, like, where do you get lost in time? Procrastination will drain you. It's emotional. It's you saying that you're going to do something and you don't keep the word to yourself. So you have that feeling of betrayal. We don't want to procrastinate. We're all guilty of it. I get it. But it really impacts you and takes away your energy. So to set yourself up for success, don't say you're going to do everything. Think about what you can realistically do. And don't do too much of it. You only have so much time in the day. You only have so much energy. Do one thing at a time and don't try to take on everything. The power of no. And sleep good every night that you can. And I know some nights aren't going to be as good as others, but how can you prepare yourself to get in bed at a decent time, sleep well, and arise at a time that works for you? And then don't overthink. You're not going to be able to take all these hacks and strategies and start tomorrow. Don't overthink it. What can you do right now to improve your well-being? What can you do right now to sleep better? What can you do right now to clear some things off your plate? Who can you call right now and say, you know, I did say that I was going to be able to do this, but after looking at my priorities, I'm not going to be able to do it in a way that will serve both of us well. Can I make a recommendation for you, or do you have another person? Don't overthink life. One step, one moment at a time. And then disconnect. Give your eyes and brain a break. Step away from the screen, put the phone down, shut it off, and just not look at anything and move your body. It is so easy to doom scroll and look at TV and binge watch. Do that for entertainment. Yes, have fun, but be mindful of how long you're sitting versus how long you're moving your body. So as I prepare to land this plane, I was taught years ago the power of two. When you start your day, what are two things that you can strive to achieve? And some days two may be too much, but let's start with two. And with these two things, how will they have the greatest impact and the greatest result? And then be very specific on what you need to do, like see it through its reasonable conclusion. So you can see at the end of this, I will have achieved what? So now you know what you're working towards. Power of two things every day, two things. Using task management tools. Inside your Outlook is a Microsoft Planner. Asana is a free tool. You can put your list down. You can assign it to people, put them on Teams. You got OneNote, Monday.com, or a good old faithful Excel spreadsheet. So there are options, but be mindful of task atrophy. That's where you'll look at it and you hadn't looked at it in weeks and tasks haven't been touched. You forgot that you put it on there. You're not updating it. So use whichever one works for you. And then look at it often. And then throughout the day, my friend, I want you to have mindful moments and ask yourself, is this activity giving or taking away from me? If you're in the middle of a conversation, if somebody's in your door or on Teams and you're looking at them and your brain is thinking about what else you should be working on, pattern interrupt, get your time back. Or simply saying, is this the most important thing right now? Put a sticky note, put a reminder, have your phone go off at 1 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever the case may be, and just check in with you. Is this most important right now, or am I doing something because it's easy or because it's, you know, it's fun versus I need to get it done because it's due day after tomorrow? Just have a mindful moment with yourself. So my final thoughts and tips for you. Conduct a time audit. Again, if you want that resource, it's April@aprillewis.com. I'm happy to send it to you and just track it. No judgment. You just want to track it because like old Peter Drucker said years ago, you can't manage what you don't measure. When you put numbers in front of you and when you see, oh my goodness, I am checking my email 6 hours out the day, it motivates you to move different. So just check, even if you look at your calendar now, how many blocks are taken for meetings? And then when are you going to do the work for the follow-ups for the meeting for all the things that you talked about? Just saying. Manage you well. It all starts with you. It starts with how you eat. It starts with how you move. It starts with how you think, how you self-regulate. It starts with you. So I encourage you to manage yourself well. Use those task management tools. You all have a lot to do. We all do. And it's good, fun work. I mean, we're in healthcare. I'm not directly in healthcare, but I support healthcare professionals. We make people well. Is that not the most epic thing ever? We directly are connected to people feeling better, being able to go home and feel good when they talk to their family. We're making communities healthier. You're seeing people that you are their only option to get to a doctor. So use a tool so you can get this beautiful, life-changing work done and not to the detriment of yourself. And your time is valuable. So take care of what you value. If you have jewelry, your children, your pet, the things that you value, you guard it closely. You pay attention to it, you protect it. Sometimes you'll fight over it, not literally, just saying. So your time, it is truly your greatest asset. You know, in the workplace, your people are, but in life, time, because it's what are you doing with it? It's just gonna be going. So what are we doing with the days and the moments that we have? And don't forget to prioritize. Everything is not priority number one. Not one nor 1A. It's 1, 2, 3. So prioritize what's most important, what's urgent. Pull it up, put those things at the top and get them done when you have your highest amount of energy. And never ever forget that you got this. Just stay present in the moment and take it one moment at a time. Thank you all so much. I'm going to hand it back over to our rockstar facilitators and see what am I supposed to do next.
Okay, April, thank you so much for that invigorating presentation. I know I learned so much and there was so much engagement in the chat. We've got some time for a little bit of Q&A. So if that's okay, I'll just go through the questions that we have and then we get some answers. But before we do that, April, I want to know if it's possible for you to send me the time tracker. We had a lot of folks ask for it in the chat, and we can actually, I can get that to Megan, and she can get that into the Weitzman education platform. So then everyone who's registered for this can have access to that, if that's okay.
Yes, actually, when I said it, my brain was like, oh, they could send it out easier. So yes, I will get that over to everybody. Thank you for that option.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the first question is this. I wonder how this talk could be adjusted for clinicians and clinician support staff. I feel like they have less control over their schedule and interruptions. What advice and tips do you have for someone in that type of a role where they're more scheduled, less of an admin or sort of operations kind of staff?
Yes, no, that's a phenomenal question because let's be honest, clinical versus non-clinical, the days are totally different. And so my advisement is to work with the construct that you have, that you have developed. So we know the schedule, right? Whatever your schedule look like for your clinicians, whether you got your 15-minute quick visits, 20 minutes, whatever, that's set. So that's like fixed. So what can we navigate in and out of it? Their admin time. It's essentially the same thing. When a clinician has admin time, yes, we want them to close charts. You know, we want them to follow up on referrals, prescriptions, all of that. But then where can you add time for them to do projects and to create and to have those peer-to-peer conversations? So start with pulling out what's fixed, which is their schedule. And then from their admin time, we know what they need to focus on. And then from there, we want to advise them to what else is important. What else can you focus on so you can do your other work very well? Because clinicians, the CEUs, but the professional development to stay on top of clinical measures and how they can treat patients better, they need time to do that too. And we really don't want clinicians going home closing charts. I know sometimes it happens, you can't get away with it, but they should be able to go home and be present with their family too. So then that's where you want to peel back the onion layers and see why aren't we as efficient as possible. And in community health centers, it can be a multitude of things. It can be the EHR not being customized for your practice. It can be your patient panels. It can be a shortage of workforce. So just take time, again, make time to see, let's autopsy the operation. Like, where do we just need to stop the bleed? Because you're bleeding from somewhere if they don't have any time and if they have to go home and do work. And then once you autopsy it, tune in, fix it.
Great, thank you. Okay, next question. What is your stance on multitasking? I know it's not the best, but it feels so necessary sometimes, and sometimes feels more productive.
No, don't do it. And let me tell you why, because I really had to see in my brain, I used to think that I could multitask, and you can multi-do, you can multi-have activity, but when it comes to, so you can be doing multiple things at one time, yes. However, neither one of those things are getting 100% of your attention and focus, because the brain can only focus on one thing with everything. Like literally, if you're have y'all gotten to the point in life to where you can't talk and text anymore? I used to be able to do that. Now things are off and I can't. So my stance is don't do it because it's leaking energy. And what I mean by that is, if you look at, I'm trying to get in the camera. So let's say all of your energy for the day is in a bowl, and every meeting, every person you talk to, everything you're working on, you're pouring out of your bowl. So if you're trying to pour out at 2 times, that's more energy versus a steady stream to just do one thing, get it done, and then move on to the next thing. It's like saving gas on cruise control versus going up and down, kicking out different spurts of gas versus let's just ride. So my stance is to don't do it because it's not healthy and it slows you down. So try it. Let me know how it goes. Like, try it to be single focused. But it's been proven with myself and people that I work with that they just get work done when you stop trying to do 2 things at once and be single focused.
Okay, thank you for that. So, and I believe this comment came when we were talking the last question about clinicians and clinical support staff, about, you know, really making sure that they have that protective admin time and really helping, you know, focusing within those admin times. So Tanisha said, this is where leadership, supervision, and coaching comes in. And actually, I was going to mention that, but that they made that comment. And so I just wanted to say that and how that's really critical for that. Like, it's leadership.
Yeah, and that's why I kept dropping the bomb of psychological safety. And that is really, really important. And let me make sure I say this the right way. If you are a leader, be okay with doing things differently. Listen to your people, especially your frontline people, especially the people that are doing the work. Yes, you do the work. Yes, we know all of that's happening, but the people that's there at that check-in counter, that's turning that light on, that's looking at those patients, that's putting the information in the system, that's calling to get the referral, like, they got good primary data for you. If any of you are in marketing, you know there's primary and secondary data. Primary data is coming directly from the source. Secondary is from research or something, from a third party. The people that are running your operation can tell you the best about your operation. So as a leader, be okay, even if it means like, oh, I got it wrong, or oh, I actually don't know, or you know what, we've been doing it this way for so long, we need to blow this up and build it again. Like, I work with so many leaders and it's just like, friend, it's okay, you got the title, you make the money, you have the influence, trust your people. They got this. Like, they really do have this, and let go. And it's a lot of ego. We still best friends, but it's a lot of ego sometimes in leadership. Look, Tanisha, like, yes, it's like, we are here to serve, and we can do it better collectively and as a united front. And no single person has all the answers. So leverage your people, link arms with your people. And like my mentor told me, you will never go wrong in healthcare if you keep the patient in the center. And I got that from Peter Levinas. I'm gonna call his name. He is in South Carolina. He said, you will never go wrong if every decision you make, every goal you set, the patient is in the middle.
That's great. I love that. Okay, just looking at some more things that came in the chat. Shirley says, for 50 years in practice, the same issues are here: time, documentation, et cetera, et cetera. How can we transform our work? If we don't, it will never happen.
Oh, the truth was just spoken. I'm sorry, Sherry, like, that is so, if you do, I have a coin right here. I don't know. If nothing changes, nothing changes. I don't know if you can see it. I got this coin at an event. If you keep doing the same thing, you'll keep getting the same result. We have to do it differently. And I know people say that a lot, but some principles are just timeless. So 50 years, you got 50 years worth of data. Disrupt that data and do things differently and bring in some new data sets. And then now you can compare it and you can see which one gives the better outcome, which one produces what we want to produce. But if you keep saying the same, it's like you keep you know, meditation is good. Like, meditation comes from like how cows digest food in their 3 stomach chambers. So you should take it in, they bring it up, it's gross, but they redo it. So meditating on something, you want to stay in that space. That's good with life spiritual practices, not at work. We do not want to keep recycling the same way of doing things, because nothing in healthcare or with human beings is just the same that it was 50 years ago. How you track data, how you communicate, how you engage, how you receive patient satisfaction. So if the world around you is changing and evolving and you're still doing the same, you're likely getting left behind. So just use the time, say, and you can do it in an encouraging way, because again, I know most of the pain points inside healthcare organizations. This isn't just FQACs, it's payers, health insurance companies, private practice, specialty, like it's healthcare in general. You can get very comfortable doing things a different way, and the fear of the unknown will paralyze you. But the only way you will get a different response is if you change what you do. So at the least, just try it. Try for a little while. Say what you're looking for. What's going to be the metrics, like we do PDSAs, and then look at both of them. Whichever one produces what you really want to produce, go with that one. But if not, you just got option one producing the results of option one from option one. Disruption.
Awesome. Great.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Managing emails. Any tips or tricks? They are so distracting.
They are. It's so much. And that is actually one of separate of like, how can I better manage my time? That question, managing emails, comes up the most. So what I say is, and if you've heard me speak before, you probably heard me use this analogy. It's called the inbox. And that is people coming in to your box. So control your box. Set time for which you want to check emails. And then if you're not actively engaged in emails, close it down. Now, the volume, you can, again, peel back the onion layers. Do you have a culture of over communication? Do you have a culture to where people reply all just to say thank you? Oh my goodness. Do you have a culture to where people are so terrified to make a decision that they want to email and ask for a moment to talk about? Like, again, go deep and see what actually the root cause of it is. But at the bare minimum, what you can control is how often you engage in it. So even if you're averaging 100 emails a day, if you say, you know, between 2 and 2:45 is when I'm gonna check emails, between 9 and 9:45, whatever works for you, do it then. And if you really want to get fancy with it, you can put an autoresponder on that say, thank you for your message. If this is urgent, feel free to give me a call. Otherwise, I'll respond. You can put your time, you can put within 24 to 48 hours, however you want to make it work. But it's your box to manage it. And then again, get to the root cause if it's a culture issue within your organization, and then just take care of you. Like, emails will take all of your time. And so for me, like, not even minimize X, close out all those open emails you got at the bottom where you're telling yourself you're going to respond to it or read the blog. Close everything out so then you don't get a notification. Set time, lean into it when you're focused on it. Otherwise, just know that it's going to be there when you return.
Great, thank you. So Mike in the chat said that Outlook, if you use Outlook for your email, has a new React feature, which has a great way to cut down on those thank you, great job, etc. emails. So
yes.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Mike. I didn't know that. I just wanted to read a comment.
Not to cut you off, and it depends on the version. So Mike, I'm happy that you said that, because it's like how we react to text messages and social media posts. You can heart, like, or whatever. So Mike, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's the latest, most recent version of the new Outlook 365. So it just, if you don't have it, then tell your IT department to update you or upgrade. But yes, that's a great tool to have. I'm happy you said that.
Great, thank you for clarifying that about, you know, the version. And then Tanisha also said front lines are so significant. They are the ones who interface with customers. So workflow is so significant and a great place to start, yes, especially with front lines. Okay, let's go here.
These are great questions.
Also too, so another sort of comment question in the chat says, what do you do when you're at 10,000 emails waiting for you to look at?
Oh, quit the job. No, I'm kidding. Don't say that. Take that off the record. No, it's still the same thing. No, seriously, if you get it, who's that? Shirley, call me, Shirley, because if you get that many emails, like, we need to talk at all levels. But it's one of those things where a lot of leaders don't take vacations. Like, oh, if I go away, I got to come back and deal with everything. Or it's more problems when I leave than if I just stay. Well, first off, if you say that, you're professing it. So just be mindful of your words and what's coming out of your mouth and your belief system around your work environment, because we can create things. That's very philosophical, but I'm just saying, so be mindful of how you're looking at it. If you're blocking that time, it's still the same thing. So look at it in healthcare. Regardless of how many calls come through the day to schedule appointments, we still only have so many slots that we can see patients. So the volume will come in, but we can slot people at these hours. You got the times for your walk-ins, same day appointments, whatever that looks like. So do the same with how you manage your inbox. If you're going to give yourself an hour, in that hour, you may get to 32 of those 10,000. The next hour, we're going to work on 33 through. And then, of course, you can scan and you can use Mike, I'm not sure what he does, but if he's like a IT person or Outlook guru, you can set up rules to where you dump certain senders into a folder. So obviously, if your executive team is reaching out to you, you maybe want to prioritize that, or your project officer, or either like your site managers. It could be something going on at the site. So you can set up rules, but it really boils down to you managing it. If you want to scan through those 10,000, if it's nothing urgent, hot off the press, I need to respond, cool, go back to the top and just start working it.
I love it. Just move on down the list. And we had some really great engagement in the chat. So there was a comment that someone said, I declare email bankruptcy every 3 to 6 months. And anything I haven't opened or responded to just gets put in an email bankruptcy date folder. And then someone else said, it does take some practice, but don't be afraid to help build a culture of an email does not necessitate an immediate response. Of course, it's easier said than done. It shouldn't be an expectation that an email will be replied to in less than 12 to 24 hours. There should be other options for things requiring rapid or immediate responses. And then there was some comments about like backlog comes from a lower priorities that drift sometimes for months. And the starring helps. This person, Shirley, said that starring helps, just takes 2 hours to check spam. And then someone else shared that their personal email deleted the entire box, which was 8,000 unread. It was the most liberating thing that's ever happened. So yeah. And so then Tanisha said, I believe you're speaking to the most important idea here. Be intentional in your work, create shortcuts, and Outlook is an easy place to start.
Yes, intentionality. Thank you so much. I'm not sure whoever just said that, like, we move based on our intentions. Like, when you move with intention, and all of what I'm talking about is being intentional with how you take care of yourself, being intentional with going to sleep, being intentional with waking up at a time that works for you, being intentional about what you eat, what you drink. It is about intentionality, because there for each one of us, there is a gravitational pull that's taking us to like a lower level than what we're capable of. There's a gravitational pull that wants you to procrastinate. There's a gravitational pull that wants you to always be annoyed and just wait till the last minute. It's a default behavior. But when you're intentional to say, I am going to be on the offense of my day and not the defense. So offense means I'm starting with clearly my power of 2 or my power of 1, whatever works for you. And if and when you get pulled, go right back to that. But you were intentional about what was important because you've taken the time to think, is this getting me to my goals? What's urgent and what's important? So it's all about the front end of it so you can be successful. I'm operating off a term, mise en place. It's a French word that chefs use. It basically means before a chef goes to prepare a meal, they lay everything out on the table. So it's just ready with the food is chopped, the measured thing. I don't cook from a recipe, but whatever you do for those that cook from a recipe, you put it out on the table. So mise en place is essentially saying everything is in place. So now I can cook. Let's live life like that. Like, as best we can, put things in place, put systems in place. Most of the time we're doing the same thing over every day anyway. So put a system in place to be more efficient. Start your day with a clear vision. So if you get pulled, you come back, but don't put yourself, and that's what I mean by the offense, go in control of the ball, in control of your calendar. And if you lose it, that's okay. You can recover and you know what basket you're going towards. So be intentional. I love whoever said that. Thank you so much, because that's what the essence of all of this is, intentionality and being able to recover when you get pulled away because you've intentionally set what you should be focused on.
I love it. I love it. Well, that is a great note to wrap up on. Again, I love all the engagement in chat. So fun to see all of this, just all these things that's sparking for folks and how they're really thinking about how they can be more intentional about things. And we just really appreciate you being here, April, to talk to us about managing our time and our energy and how that relates to our workplace, but also how, it's just setting ourselves up just as people as well. So again, April, thank you so much for being here. It's always an absolute pleasure to be with you, even if it's just in a virtual presence. So what we're going to do now, and just as a reminder, we will put the time tracker in the Weitzman education platform too. So we'll follow up with that. Right now, we're going to go into a 10-minute break. So come back at 1:40 p.m. Eastern time, 10:40 p.m. Pacific time, and we, Gerard will be introducing our next speaker, Gary Campbell, so you don't want to miss that. So again, thank you so much to April for being here. So grateful that you are able to come and be with us today, and we will see everyone in 10 minutes at 1:40 Eastern. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bless you. Bye.